Welcome to the first episode of Bonds with Bundt, where we go over this week's market activities and how it affects mortgage rates in the housing market. Now, this week, President Trump said that he wants to see a $1.5 trillion military budget, which would be about a 50% increase in order to do that. The U.S. would have to issue more debt, which is causing bonds to sell off. Now, this is far from a sure thing and would be for 2027 anyway, but the market is still reacting. He also said that he's taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes. The thing is, nationwide, they only account for about 1 to 3% of all single-family home sales, so this should not be a big impact. In other news, Q3 productivity rose to 4.9%, which is much stronger than the estimates of 3%. This comes off of Q2 report, which was revised from 3.3 to 4.1% with much more productivity, probably due to AI. Now, unit labor cost is declining, so unit labor cost fell 1.9%, which is much lower than the 1% rise expected. Q2 was also revised down to 1% from 2.9%. Lower unit labor cost is deflationary and would have helped the bond market if not for Trump's comments. In jobless claims, which measures individuals filing for unemployment benefits for the first time, now that rose $8,000 to 208,000. Now, while this is still very low and it did not help bonds, it doesn't appear that the market was actually smart enough to figure out how it encompasses the New Year's Eve holiday. And holidays almost always cause a downward skew. We hope to see some better numbers, and we'll look at next week's jobs report for that. Continuing claims, or those continuing to receive benefits after their initial claims, rose 56,000 to 1.91 million, back above 1.9 million. This is a look back of 2 weeks, so this includes the Christmas holiday. And today's report still shows that we're in a low firing and low hiring economy. The Challenger job report reported that in December, there were only 35,553 jobs cut, which is the lowest level in 17 months. Additionally, hiring plans totaled 10,496, which is the strongest December we've had in 3 years. But breaking down the numbers, it still shows this as a weak labor market, as there are usually less cuts around the holidays and more hiring. More importantly, 1 month does not make a trend, and there were so many cuts in the previous 11 months. Today we will have the jobs report, which will likely be key and will likely dictate near-term bond direction. The market is expecting there to have been 60,000 jobs created in December, and for the unemployment rate to have fallen from 4.6 to 4.5. The unemployment rate in November was 4.56, which was 4.56, which was rounded to 4.6. But that's really important because it would only take 0.02% lower to round it back down to 4.5%. And the market is expecting that. So even if it happens, it should not be a surprise. Now, on the other hand, if it stays at 4.6% or rises, it should be a good thing for bonds and a great thing for interest rates. We are floating rates ahead of today's job report. I hope you enjoyed this week's report of Bonds with Bundt. Thank you.